guys, Dr. Melissa Saunders here to do one of our video 101 series. Today we're going to talk about intermittent fasting. I'm going to keep it really simple. We're going to talk about what it is, the benefits of, and how to start it today. Intermittent fasting, this is basically your first step into fasting. This is where you build the foundation, and this is where you start small in order to make the longer fasts easy. One of my favorite things about intermittent fasting is that people often hesitate to jump in, and it is so much easier than people think. So I really want to do this video to encourage you to try if you've been holding off, to just try. Literally every time I have someone try it, they are shocked by how easy it is. And maybe just when you hear about how it's actually done, you'll feel the same way. All right, so basically intermittent fasting is just extending your non-eating window. So basically we're either eating or our bodies are using up the glucose from that food. And once the glucose goes down from the food that we eat, we start to tap into what's called our glycogen stores, essentially our stored glucose. Once we use all of our glycogen and that is diminished, then we start to tap into this whole other fuel tank called our ketones. And there's other videos on that. But what intermittent fasting does is it starts to get your body ready and understanding that there's other fuel available once the glucose and the glycogen run out. So there's a video, again, in our 101 series with a time graph. That's really helpful as well because it will help you understand at different points what happens. All right, so intermittent fasting, we're just extending our non-eating window, and usually you start with this at night. And I'll go into that in the how-to. What are the benefits? Well, anytime we extend our non-eating window, we've been taught for a period of time that we're supposed to eat every few hours to help with blood sugar. Research is now saying that that wasn't effective. And if you take a look at our health over the last 50 years or so, you can see that diabetes has skyrocketed, chronic disease, chronic illness, autoimmunity, the levels are beyond frightening, and we're seeing it in our children. So clearly that wasn't working, and now it's time to tap into this other, I want to say school of thought, but now there's science and research backing it. So a couple of things that happens are our inflammation levels go down, which is huge for chronic illness, autoimmunity. Another thing that happens is our body's ability to detoxify itself, which is actually called autophagy, increases and is stimulated. So often in these cases of autoimmune conditions that we're seeing a lot of, and there are some, there's some school of thoughts now that 95% of people actually have an autoimmune condition. We're just not testing for it correctly. So the autoimmune conditions start to go down when you introduce fasting, because what happens is the body naturally starts to kill off these ineffective immune cells that have become hyperactive and hypervigilant. So when we kill off those ineffective, over-aggressive cells that we see in these autoimmune conditions, these allergies, these food sensitivities, your body almost like recycles and regenerates its immune system and makes a way more healthy, effective, not as overly aggressive immune system. So huge. You also increase something called insulin resistance, which is amazing for the diabetic population. And again, with dropping inflammation levels, we see changes in heart disease. We see major changes in the central nervous system and brain function. It's why a lot of people do really well that have brain fog or any other neurological condition. All right, how to do it. This is the best part. Okay, so you basically, again, just extend your non-eating window. I would say, just to keep it simple, focus on eating within an 8 to 10 hour time frame. So what does that look like? All right, if we're eating within a 10 hour frame, that would be waking up at 9 a.m. and then finish eating at 7 p.m. Nothing before 9, nothing after 7. It's not that difficult. That gives you a 14-hour fast. If we're doing an 8-hour eating window, that would be having your first meal at 11 a.m. in the morning, and then cutting off eating at 7 p.m., which would give you a 16-hour fast. If you go to our other video in the 101 series, again with the time graph, you'll start to see what that means and how it's going to help you tap into the benefits of intermittent fasting, what happens at each hour. But pretty easy. So what I started to do when I first played around with intermittent fasting I would have my dinner at 7 p.m. We're chiropractors, we often work late, so we don't eat until like 7, sometimes 8. So I'd finish my meal at 7 p.m., close up the kitchen, turn off the lights, go upstairs with the kids so I didn't even think about it. The next morning when I woke up, I would have my tea or have my coffee. If you don't put a lot in it, like a lot of cream or sugar or anything like that, I would just have it straight black or straight tea. It will not throw you out of a fast. And then I would do my workout and wait until 11 a.m. to eat. You can have water, you can have lemon in your water, you can have tea, you can have coffee in your intermittent fast. So that also makes it pretty easy to extend that eating window. All right, so that's it. That's how you start. Pretty much when people do this, they find it's very easy and they're ready to try it again the following week and to extend that not eating window even more. Super easy, jump in.